Getting ripped after 40 can get a bit more difficult. Your hormones have shifted, recovery isn't what it used to be, and your overall activity isn't as high as it once was. Despite getting older, however, I've been able to stay relatively lean throughout the years, not because I meticulously track my intake or avoid my favorite foods. I don't. Instead, it's because I've developed habits over time that make it practically effortless. And that's exactly what I want to share with you in today's video. 5 underrated habits to get ripped easily, no matter your age. In fact, the third habit has allowed me to eat even more of my favorite foods without worrying about gaining any fat. And if I don't eat them, I just keep losing weight. Now, before we jump into those habits, let me just make one thing perfectly clear. Burning fat is about being in a caloric deficit consistently over time. Doing that while consuming enough protein and lifting weights regularly will ensure you're getting leaner without losing your hard-earned muscle. That said, these habits make achieving that calorie deficit much easier. So now that that's out of the way, let's jump into habit number 1. Pre-cook your protein sources. If there's one macronutrient that makes a fat loss phase successful, it's protein. Hitting your daily target consistently is what keeps your muscle tissue intact while you drop body fat. It's what keeps you full, curbs cravings, and increases your metabolic rate, and thus helps you lose fat, not just body weight. But the problem is, when life gets chaotic, protein is usually the first thing to fall through the cracks. That's why one of the smartest, most underrated habits you can build is pre-cooking your protein sources. Pick 1 or 2 days out of the week and grill some chicken breasts, cook up a couple of pounds of lean ground beef, and hard boil some eggs. That way, no matter what life throws your way, you've got your protein on deck. Prepping protein removes friction, turning "I should eat more protein" into "I've got protein ready." And for guys over 40, this isn't just helpful, it's essential. As you age, your body becomes less sensitive to the muscle building signals from smaller doses of protein. Research shows that older men need larger protein feedings, typically between 30 and 40 grams or more per meal, to stimulate muscle protein synthesis effectively. In other words, getting your protein in consistently and in the right amounts becomes more important. This habit works because it makes consistency convenient. And in a fat loss phase, that's everything. You don't have to cook every night. You don't have to rely on takeout or wing it when you're busy. You just reheat, eat, and move on, knowing your protein intake is already locked in. Habit number 2, use a smaller plate and use the same one every time. Now here's a dead simple habit that keeps your portions honest and your fat loss on track. Use a smaller plate and stick with the same one for every home-cooked meal. It works because your brain doesn't track calories, it tracks visual volume. The more space your food takes up, the more satisfying it seems, at least mentally. But here's the catch. When your plate is too big, normal portions look tiny, which leads to overserving without realizing it. In this study, researchers found that when people use larger plates and bowls, they tend to serve themselves more. In other words, the bigger the plate, the bigger the meal. So make this a habit. Pick a small plate that makes your meals look full and use it every time you eat at home. Not a different plate each day, not a random bowl, the same plate every meal. That visual consistency helps you regulate portions over time without needing to weigh and track everything forever. This won't burn fat on its own, but it eliminates one of the most common ways guys accidentally overeat when trying to lose fat. Habit number 3. Put a walking pad where you sit still the most. Telling yourself to move more during a cut is about as useful as telling yourself to stress less or eat better. It's vague, it's forgettable, and in most cases, it just doesn't work. And NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, is one of the biggest factors in fat loss success. It accounts for a huge chunk of your daily energy expenditure, especially when you're not hammering cardio or training for hours. Here's the problem. When you start dieting, your body subconsciously tries to move less. You fidget less, you pace less, and you start sitting more. You may not even notice it, but your body's always trying to conserve energy in a deficit, and that lack of activity absolutely crushes your total daily calorie burn. So make movement automatic by engineering your environment. One of the ways I do it is by keeping a walking pad in my office. In fact, I'm using it right now as I'm writing this script. I also walk while I'm reading, while I'm gaming, and even sometimes when I'm watching television. And here's the thing. I used to keep a treadmill in the garage that I never used. Because the walking pad sits in my office where I see it every day and can access it with minimal effort, I end up using it all the time. The one I personally use is the Precook W50. I've tried a handful of other walking pads over the years, but most of them either felt too small, unstable, or just plain cheap. The W50 has a solid, sturdy feel, wide enough for a comfortable stride, quiet enough to use during calls, and powerful enough to handle longer sessions without overheating. And if I want to up the intensity, I can incline it a bit and make my session a bit more challenging. It also folds up easily and tucks away when I'm not using it, which is perfect for a home office setup. If you're thinking about adding more movement to your day, I highly recommend it. And to make it even better, Precook is offering my viewers 15% off. Just use the code you see on the screen. And if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description below. Habit number 4. Schedule a 10-minute decompression walk every evening. Stress is part of life, especially after 40. You're juggling work, family, responsibilities, and expectations. But if you're not doing anything to actively lower your stress levels, it builds up in the background and chips away at your progress. See, chronic stress isn't just a mindset issue. It has real physiological consequences that can make fat loss much more difficult. When stress is high and left unchecked, your body produces more cortisol. That's a normal, useful hormone when it spikes briefly. But when cortisol stays elevated chronically because of work pressure, financial worries, family tension, or even low-grade mental fatigue, it starts to interfere with every aspect of your physique goals. It suppresses testosterone, delays recovery, makes it harder to build muscle, and encourages fat storage, especially around your midsection. That hormonal shift alone can slow progress no matter how hard you train or how clean you eat. That's why I recommend you take a 10-minute walk every evening. No phone, no podcasts, no scrolling, just you outside decompressing. Think of it as an active stress decompression. It's not about burning calories, it's about shifting your nervous system out of that fight or flight mode and into rest and recovery mode. Walking, especially outdoors, helps regulate your circadian rhythm, lowers cortisol, and gives your mind a buffer between your day and your downtime. It also reinforces a daily rhythm where you unwind on purpose rather than just hoping relaxation shows up on its own. This habit is subtle but powerful. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the one thing that allows your body to better respond to all the things you're already doing. Without stress management, your results will always hit a ceiling. But with just 10 focused minutes a night, you can start creating the environment your body needs to get ripped and stay that way. And habit number 5, set a daily sleep shutdown ritual and stick to it. Telling yourself to get more sleep sounds good in theory, but in practice, it rarely leads to real change. What you need instead is a concrete system, a repeatable shutdown ritual that signals to your body that it's time to downshift, recover, and repair. So rather than waiting for your body to crash when your body's tired enough, you're creating the conditions where quality sleep becomes automatic. Start by picking a nightly cutoff time. This is your hard stop, no work, no screens, no stimulation beyond that point. For most people, that's somewhere around 9:30 p.m., but the exact time doesn't matter as much as sticking to it consistently. From there, transition into a calm, low stimulation activity like reading, journaling, or taking a warm shower. Keep the lighting dim, the environment quiet, and the pace slow. Ideally, set your phone to do not disturb and keep it away from the bed entirely. Over time, this wind down sequence becomes a cue for your nervous system to shift into parasympathetic mode, the state where your body prioritizes rest and recovery. One optional addition to your wind down routine is using sleep supportive supplements like magnesium and melatonin. Magnesium in doses of 200 to 400 milligrams about an hour or two before bed has been shown to improve sleep quality and reduce sleep onset latency, especially in people with low magnesium levels or high stress. Melatonin works best when timed right. Recent research suggests that taking it about 3 hours before your target bedtime may be more effective for promoting sleep and aligning your circadian rhythm. Sleep isn't just rest, it's your most anabolic window. Miss this window consistently and your fat loss slows and muscle retention drops. One study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that even just 1 week of sleeping 5 hours per night led to a 10 to 15% drop in testosterone in healthy men. Now, stack that on top of the age-related hormonal decline, and you can see why optimizing sleep is critical. And it's not just about your testosterone levels. Research shows that bad sleep ramps up ghrelin and suppresses leptin, which means more cravings in bigger portions the next day without you realizing it. On the flip side, consistent deep sleep helps regulate your appetite, keeps your metabolism revving, and protects your lean muscle while dieting. So, if you want to get ripped and actually hold on to your muscle, treat sleep with the importance it deserves. A simple, repeatable shutdown routine done nightly is one of the most underrated high-leverage habits you can build. And if you're still struggling to lose fat and get ripped, grab a copy of my Shred 40 Fat Loss Guide. This is a science-based fat loss program created specifically for men over 40 who want to get absolutely shredded without sacrificing their muscle mass, and right now you can grab a copy completely free. Just click the link in the description, enter your name and email, and you'll get instant access. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below so YouTube hopefully shows this to more people. And if you're not already subscribed, I would truly appreciate it if you were as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.